force. If it doesn't work, you're just not using enough. You're listening to SOFREP Radio. Special operations military news and straight talk with the guys in the community.
Another awesome episode of SOFREP Radio. That's right, today I'm going to tell you about our merch store. That's right, we have sofrep.com/merch, and that's where you can get all the latest for 2025 branded items, the merch. You know, designing shirts and coming up with ideas never gets old. It's super fun, and we love putting them out there for you. If you have an idea that you'd like to see, send it to us at SOFREP, and we'll see if we can incorporate it into the merch. Second, our book club. So the guys behind the scenes, the special operation guys, they're out there picking these books, curating our book club, and that's sofrep.com/book-club. If you already go there, thank you. If you're new to the show, it's sofrep.com/book-club. Now, boy, oh boy, where do I start? Okay, do I start? Everything's so fast right now. Okay, we're talking drones today. And you already know that because you saw the link when you clicked on today's episode. So without further ado, I would like to introduce the man who is CTO, I guess, right, for the Drone World League. Also, probably CEO of PDW, which is, he's going to explain, we're going to expound on PDWs and how he's crossed over from going from just growing up, eating at the breakfast table to what he's doing today. So welcome to the show, Ryan Gury. Welcome.
Hey, thank you. What's up, Brad?
What's up, dude? What was your breakfast before school?
Cream of wheat.
Cream of wheat.
Yeah.
I had a
cream of wheat family.
hot cocoa and toast. My mom always seemed to have that. The bus would come. I'd always have a hot cocoa and some toast to dip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that.
You know, it's just how it is, Now, you know, let's talk about this being like, you know, really like a military style podcast. SOFREP.com stands for Special Operation Forces Report, right? So if you're on the ground and they go to like infantry guys, like, hey, give us a situational report, a sit rep. Well, to soft guys, they go, give us a soft rep. And so that's where the name came from. You're working with this, you know, like these guys in your company, as I was reading about it, who come from that background. What is it that drives you to hiring military personnel first for PDW? Can I ask you that?
Yeah. So I think essentially, you know, we're developing products for soft forces, right? So I got a little feedback in my headphones, but I think that's going to be fine. So with any product, you know, generally you are super close to the end user, right? So I spent my life developing, you know, software and hardware for generally different audiences, and that's better at. You know, it's a long story, but I was in the Drone Racing League, and it was a TV show for families and kids, and we were doing stuff that wasn't done before to allow you to have, you know, a drone race on live television in ESPN and NBC, and we ended up getting the opportunity to train some special forces on the side, and you know, started slowly developing products for the military. You know, it's important to be as close as you can with the user. So throughout that process, we've been hiring, you know, special forces to be in executive positions in our company. So our CTO is, you know, from development group. My chief revenue officer, same thing. Our head of advanced missions is from, you know, Delta Group. And as we grow and develop products, you know, what better way to get close to the earth is by hiring experts, right? So that's our secret sauce. We'll continue to do that into the future. I think we're mostly veterans, more than 50% in our company. And, you know, that's the best way to get ahead and to understand the features that are important by being as close to your end user.
So I love that. And I just want to say that, you know, we really focus a lot on how the transition happens from military to civilian life. But you're coming from the other opposite direction of kind of bringing them into your organization, correct?
Yeah, totally. And I'm a civilian, right? So as true as they come. And, you know, I've seen Band of Brothers. I understand, we're a pretty patriotic family growing up, but I spent 30 years in front of a computer chair, and I've had none of the sacrifices that these guys have had or gone through, right? So it's the exact opposite. Coming into civilian and developing, basically combat systems, right? Uh, it's been a lot of learning um, about the culture, about how things are done, tactics. It's fun to nerd out on as a civilian, and I get to work with like really really cool people. Um, you know, it's also like a cheat. Like these people are highly capable and you know uh, very able to operate in a business. So special forces is almost like stealing people from Ivy League. It's pretty sweet.
Right, and an Olympic athlete body too, because they're
Yeah,
like,
right.
they're like, I'm
Yeah,
super smart and I'm fit.
yeah, yeah. Getting in a debate, which we do all the time, is like super intimidating with these folks. But it's been an awesome experience. Very humbled to be where I am and to be working with people like this. And internally, we're building stuff to help them, and tools and assets to make their jobs easier, right? So it's an extraordinary position to be in, and I have just the best job in the world, really do.
It sounds like it. Now, if you were to, go back and just, let's just go back a little bit. All right, I kind of jumped the gun. I wanted to talk about how you broke like a speed record, and you have this world Guinness record from 2017, and I wanted to talk about like all the patents that you have put out there towards this profession and this lifestyle that you're in, with all of these different types of quadcopters and like multiple antennas on top of a device that can, pull in mobile signal. You have these patents, so you're behind the chair matters because you're going to help these guys moving forward. You see?
Yeah, I think like essentially like you know I got into drones because I was a gearhead, right? Like I love cars and motorcycles, and I follow racing sports, and what led me into drones was just the power of what they can do, right? And as it translates into Ukraine today, that same power is being used to eliminate enemy forces, right? So when I first saw drones, I was like, oh shit, there's this 3D high performance robotic, um, doesn't have an airfoil, just rips around the air, and uses, basically iPhone sensors and to get it around, right? And radios. So I was initially attracted just because I knew the performance angle was there, and all the things that we did in Drone Racing League were built around extending that performance, whether that be radio systems or batteries or motors or props and things like that. Like it's the same stuff in cars, right? Like you figure out, either Tesla's got different dynamics than uh, an ICE engine, right? Internal combustion engine, right? But it's the same tweaking that goes into that, to extend how fast it can go and how it can do corners, right? So when I got into drones, it was a clean slate. Nothing was being done. There was a lot of amateurs like myself in the space, and speed records and endurance records, and what you could do with batteries and radios. All of that was left, was just left out for people like myself to go out and conquer, right? So when we got in a drone racing league, the idea was to put on a fantasy sport, right, that mimicked the stuff that we all saw in the 80s, right? So Transformers or, Tron and all that cool stuff, right? We were essentially telling the audience you were going to see that when you tune into ESPN. So that meant we had to have radios that would push drones many miles, through stadiums, or we had to have, radio systems that would mitigate interference or jamming. We'd have drones that could never fall from the sky that you had to rebuild really quickly, and we would destroy 500 plus of those of every event. We just have a huge pile of dead drones, and we started pushing the limits of what you could do. Fast forward a few years, I end up in a weird field in North New York, with Dylan Ham, who is standing up, the drone department at Development Group, and going into combat with, or going into missions with, small organic assets. And we quickly saw that he was doing the same thing that we were doing, pushing the limits of drones, batteries, how you can carry weight for a long period of time. And that's kind of when this thesis started that, maybe there was a bigger, mission out there for us to accomplish.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And somebody who's an avid user of a lipo battery, a lithium poly or a poly battery, or even lithium ion batteries, it's like, where do you get such robust battery systems that don't get too cold, from being just because even on your held action cameras,
Yeah.
I go ride 6 times on the slopes and my battery's zapped, right? So let alone, let's say you're flying at 10,000 feet, right? And you're doing a drop for a firefighter. Okay, you got to drop a bunch of equipment. This is all battery operated, right?
Yeah, but it's like a battery's one of the ingredients. Your stator, your motor, your prop, the weight, your configuration of your drone. Like there's all these like little tiny ingredients that go into stuff. But like now, we're developing, real deal combat systems. So that it's got to perform in the cold at high altitudes. It has to perform, anywhere in the world, in the desert. And, those requirements come from, veterans in the space. And all the stuff we learned at DRL is super applicable, to developing small drones that are high performance, and
I
small assault
see.
drones, combat systems, and stuff like that.
That's gnarly. See, the reason why I have a battery, usage is we run airsoft war games here
Yeah.
in Salt Lake, and so we're constantly putting in all these different types of lipo batteries and whatnot, and seeing them just kind of sometimes combust on their own if they drop, or they can just hit the dirt, and it's just like, where's this perfect battery? But you're right, it does take like a formula of what you're talking about to make it function.
There is no perfect batteries. And actually, one of the airsoft battery makers, I forget the name of it, is run by a guy named Trent. He was doing some of the most, innovative work in batteries and battery cells and finding the best ones to fit the demand, right? It's just some cells are made for high efficiency, some cells are made for high discharge. And early in the days, airsoft was one of the sectors in, the electric, power system game that was pushing the limits, right? Drones are another one. We look for high discharge. We look for, not generally cycle count, but, stuff that can perform. And there's different cells that do different things, and, some line up. Flashlights, airsoft, and drones, right? Or Tesla batteries are, it's totally different.
Right. No, and I don't know why I'm so obsessed with batteries with drones right now. But I got guys that come in, they're like, I have a charger at home, I fly drones, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is almost a, symbiotic relationship here with a lot of that stuff. And so, we also have guys that want to bring drones out into the war game, right? And so
Yeah.
let's talk about that. And we're like, well, how do we take it down? Can we shoot it? And they're like, no, we can't pull recon with it then. But you can take photos and you can videotape us. But if you're going to bring it out to try to launch it and get, the advantage on us, how do we counter that, right? So let's bring that to the situation today. How do we counter that? Like, say I'm walking down the street here in Sandy, Utah, address 123 America Lane, and I just have a drone coming at me. How do I counter that? What's your thoughts on something like that going into that world?
Yeah, the counter drone industry is massive, and it's a very dynamic and changing place, right? At the front lines today, they're just using optical fiber, right? There is no jamming, there's no stopping it, and I think that's what's going to happen. We talk about doctrine and the evolution of what's happening, but we look at small drones as one of those important pillars of doctrine as things move forward in the same way that gunpowder, aircraft carriers, NVGs. It's just a game-changing application. And what you really have is a 3D combat system, right? So like forever, small arms and artillery, you have these trajectories. Your javelin, you still have to have line of sight, but small drones, you can hide and hit things, many miles away and have time on target to really understand what you're looking at and choose, when to engage. It's a in 24 months, we went from the Ukrainian first strike of a small drone now to the most used combat system at the edge, at the front line. And, there's a lot changing very quickly. Our business has grown substantially, and you know, we believe that the future of small drones is really important that America lead, and that's our mission.
Yeah, I could agree with having the grip on that situation, especially we got to counter it, right? We have to be on the forefront and have the insight and the dev guys and the Delta D-Boy guys and all of them saying this is what we need on the front lines right now, in back rooms, getting that stuff built. I remember watching a YouTube clip where it just showed like somebody hand taped like a pistol to their drone.
Yeah.
And at that time, I think it just kind of made everybody realize, like, as he shot it, the drone flew back, but he recorrected it.
Yeah, I mean, we're at the very beginnings of this, right? And
Yes.
I think essentially drones do two things. One, it offers scale, right? So they're very inexpensive. We look at them as ammunition. And, in the same way as small arms, you can give everybody one of them.
Sure.
And I think what that does is it supplements the need for strategic assets, and it supplements the need for air support, right? Where you at the front, a single unit, can call in, your own strike. You can call in your own ISR, and you can scale that to anybody who wants one, right? Because they're just so inexpensive, right? So it's both the scale, but also the capabilities of these things happening at once, and a lot's going to change because of it.
That'd be so cool if it was integrated in the helmet. Okay, let's just say that it lands. Let's say it lands into the helmet. Okay, and it can still protect you, so it's in you. And then you're like, okay, all right, and then you're like, and it's like off it goes, and does its thing, and then it just comes back to you and just lands right back into you. And your helmet has the situation. I'm just making this up right now.
Hey, yeah, I mean, it's a mix between like what we thought was coming, but also like the tried and true, like. The fiber optics has kind of been kind of funny because that's now probably going to be a standard, but like 7 miles of fiber optics to make sure that you can't get jammed, and no one can stop that, and I think things are going to continue to evolve into two directions. One, future stuff that we all saw coming, but also like the tried and true bulletproof, combat systems that are made not to fail, and the lowest common denominator is the thing that will work, right?
Bro, it's like in Call of Duty Black Ops 2 or Black Ops 3 World at War, where you go into the conference building and you have to listen to the conference as a wasp. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still a little bit away from that. Right?
Just track me on this, right? And then the little wasps just flying around. The guys in the game are swatting at it like, this bug won't leave me alone. And you're like flying in their face and, listening to the conversations and a little stinger.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know what you can do with that now. But like just the energy density to transmit radios, right? Like you can't do that with a wasp, right? So like it depends.
Yeah.
We'll see where things go. Like the Black Hornet by Proxnova, that's pretty sweet. They're doing a good job with that nano size rig. But yeah, I mean, I think things are going to evolve into, practicality along with, future capabilities at the same time.
Like the tactical to practical, like the Capri Sun or Tang, made for space, but in our lunchbox, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, cool. Thanks, Mom, again for the Tang and the hot cocoa.
But the same way, like AK's bent sheet metal or an AR is like super easy to take down and build up. Like the same attributes you have to employ into, modern robotics, right? So you have to be really practical where you can be, and then push on the limits, where you're able to.
A super functional third grade learning level device.
Yes, essentially, right?
Yes, that everybody can pretty much operate.
Yes.
Because I'm going to pretty much assume everybody has a third grade reading level across the board, wherever I go. Okay,
hey man,
that means we'll get along.
You got to make it simple, right? And I think
really, just like that, right? Buy it now, push the button, send it to my house.
Yeah.
3 clicks.
Absolutely.
Get it done. Yes, so it should be just so, like I said, just lands in your head, helmet. And just
That's still a little too fancy, right? But yes, maybe one day. I mean, like, I think a lot of that is like we battle a lot of hype and hyperbole in what is possible, right? And have to counter that with practicality. So, whether it's AI or autonomy that, people will talk about at conferences and how things are actually implemented at scale and how you can actually get things done. It's always a balancing act, right? So we have to be really careful that the systems that we give to warfighters are systems that they can use and they can rely on,
Right.
right?
I've seen Terminators, dude. I know. I've seen, like these films with robots, Buck Rogers, and going all the way back like till today. It's just, I mean, you've seen these too, right?
Yeah, of course.
See, so that John Connor's gonna come back soon. Okay.
I mean, I'm pretty much an optimist. I believe in utopia, not dystopia. I think that
I love that. I love that.
it's just important that our guys have the best gear, and they can go and do what they do, and that's our job, right? And we leave the rest up to them in the State Department. And I think I have a lot of faith in that, right?
That's good. That's good. Yeah. So do you guys do anything with the drone league still? Are you still like full on or is this PDW your new business?
So
You're like just so
PDW has
busy.
been on its own for about 7 years. We did the drone league for about 3 years, and then we took the entire engineering team and moved them to Alabama. And then, there wasn't much left to do by the time we got things implemented at the drone league. It felt like all the adventure was in this arena.
Oh, I see.
And it has been. It's crazy. The people who I get to work with and the lives that they've lived are completely different than what I've lived. And we're basically getting to rewrite military doctrine. I'm not, if you look at all the famous war scenes in American movies that civilians like me understand, from Captain Winters in Band of Brothers with the artillery guns, to Saving Private Ryan on the beach with the cliff, to Zero Dark 30, all those things change with small drones, right? And it's not the same tactics. And we get to be a small part of it. We get to help, work with soft forces to really understand what the future looks like. It's super fun and exciting, and we get to work with the coolest people in the world, right? It's really cool.
I mean, I've gone to large-scale war games, and it was at George Air Force Base in California with Lion Claws. That's the name of the event, Operation Lion Claws. And some of those out there listening may remember that we'd go house to house. So it's an old military base that's decommissioned back in the day, and we just fight urban warfare, street to street, house to house, over like a square mile.
Yeah.
It's pretty intense. But right next to it at George Air Force Base is its runway. And what they use it for is logistics, like UPS or FedEx or shipping, and also like drone training. So here we are, house to house, war games, kicking indoors, and then all of a sudden you just look up and you hear this bzzz, and it goes, and it's just quiet. And it's like a big, huge like drone flying over us, and we're like, oh, they're locking onto us while we're doing war games. Like they're training on us, knowing that this is happening, and they're flying the drone all around us, and it's just, you hear it just buzzes, bzzz, and then it just goes quiet. You just hear this like wind howling over its wings as the Magnus effect takes its toll. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, dude, that would totally smoke me.
Well, yeah, but I think like drones have the ability to operate in a tactical nature too. Like my chief revenue officer, Chuck, he was a breacher for development group, and he's been, I think one day we'll get to work on an indoor drone, right? It's not currently in our roadmap this year, but something that is really small that helps you clear rooms, and is something that you can rely on and is tactical in nature, right?
Yeah.
That would be super helpful. And you could see that, in Israel with tunnels, or, with any area where drones have to work in a small space. But that use case is super, super important. And Chuck builds them all day. He's got like 10 of these little tiny rigs. And he just talks about how much of a game changer that will be when we can implement it well, to help him do his job. Or
Bro, little drones, you just turn around the corner, you're like clear, all of a sudden there's just a little drone in your face, like with like lights laughing at you. I don't even know.
Yeah. I mean, someday, that'd be a better way to clear rooms. I'm not sure just today, but yeah, it's coming, right?
Have you seen the movie Batteries Not Included?
No. There's a lot of movies out there with drone stuff in it that I'm like, okay.
You should probably see Batteries Not Included.
Okay.
It's an 80s movie. It's pretty wholesome. Yeah, it's pretty wholesome. Yeah. I'm not saying it's anything bad. No, it's called Batteries Not Included. And anybody out there that's hearing me say that and you're thinking, yeah, Rad, tell them about Batteries Not Included.
Yeah. Small drones have, they get a lot of cynical play on them, and there's a little bit of dystopia built into it, right? But when you get to work with our guys each day and day out, this is going into their hands, right? It's
Oh yeah.
it takes shape over time.
Yeah, you see, and what's so cute about batteries not included and drones is that they're like spaceships that if it was a trailer and this is the 80s, it would be these little spaceships fly to Earth, unknowingly have intelligence and eyeballs and
Yeah.
feet. Yeah, batteries not included.
Gosh, all right. I guess I'll have to watch this.
Yeah. It's pretty good. And, it's all around the same time. Police Academy was coming out and Cocoon and like all those types of movies. Short Circuit, Johnny
Yeah.
Five is alive. Hello.
Yes, I remember all those.
No disassemble.
Yes. You're in my, yeah, that's definitely where the movies were I was growing up, yes.
Yeah, that's what's up. Me too, bro. I can't stop. I was born in the 1900s with the big wheel was invented. You know what
Absolutely.
I'm saying? Yeah.
Amazing.
The Dukes of Hazzard actually is what yeah, that's funny. Oh, bro. So drones, you come from Drone League, and did you have a degree when you like did all this? Do you have a degree? Did you go to college, or are you just super genius guy?
No, I mean, I'm just ever since I was a kid, I had a computer and just kind of hacker.
Yep.
I came into drones by doing software and then hardware, and then just always kind of been a gearhead. A lot of the guys who I work with too are the same way. They're self-taught, or they just learned on the AOL, right? For
You've got mail. Yeah, my business partner.
Essentially,
He's the same way.
It's just
same
problem
way.
solving and testing and seeing what works and what doesn't. We're really fast iterators. We make practical decisions. We listen to the end user quite a bit. And, we're all generally meat eaters. We understand, firearms and combat systems and, love to study doctrine and things like that. So we try and stay as
and cholesterol. Let's put that out there. Cholesterol. You got to understand cholesterol too. Come on now. Let's go. We're going to throw it out there. I'm on a statin. Let's talk about statins. Let's talk about rosuvastatin. Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, you gotta be on statin. Yeah.
Let's talk about constipation. Let's talk about how.
I'm good with it. I never had any bad side effects.
Issues on that?
Nah,
no, I'm.
right.
Are you on? I'm on a 5 milligram nightly.
Okay, probably on the same thing. My numbers are good though now.
I just got back from my dietitian this morning. She's like, "You're doing everything that I think I would tell you to do. Working out, eating good, cutting out all of the fried foods, which is hard, bro. Right?
Yes.
Holy cow! I just stumbled onto this thing between us, but I'm trying to normalize talking about men's health, women's health, make it a normal conversation. People should not be so like, oh, HIPAA. Nah, man, I got plaque in my Widowmaker.
Yeah. Did you get the calcium check? I got that too.
I'm 47, and they're like, we're going to start you on a statin at a younger age than we usually do. And I was like,
me too.
Let's roll with it, dude.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, man, you gotta live well, right?
Yeah.
And like,
or well,
I don't know, I'm kind of excited about for this phase of America. I'm really proud of, some of the things that have happened over the last few years in terms of, our capability to produce innovative stuff, right? So right now there's a company called DJI.
Yeah, of course.
They, and China is just, the best at the hardware game, right? Their ability to machine, produce, fabricate, industrialize, and very quickly iterate on hardware is extremely reflective, I think, in the EV car game, right? With like the BYDs, the XPengs, and the Neos, also with the drones. And if you open up a DJI drone, it is fantastic. They are very, very good at what they do. The way they do their sensors, the way they do their, their board-to-board connectors, they're operating at Apple levels, right? And people on my side who are doing robotics, right, have to delve into hardware scale, machining, making sure that's all American made. And there's still a lot of work to be done to really get them up to speed. On the other side, though, we have groups like NVIDIA and OpenAI and Anthropic and Apple just reaching the ceiling on and leading the world, right? And I think there's a really exciting time for American industrial, right, where people like us are figuring out how to make these components stateside, how to scale them well, how to make them cheap, right? And I think a lot of the sentiment in America is really excited to really build that out, right? So I get to share in a lot of great experiences. One, working on new combat systems with soft forces, and sharing executive positions in our company with them. I get to work on the American industrial re-energization. I don't even think that's a word, but like bringing back American hardware scaling and making sure that we're safe for
Like
the future.
reintegrating it, yeah, dude. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
reintegration. Yeah,
really cool arena to play in, right?
it
And
is. Let
I'm
me
very
ask you,
fortunate.
if you're the troop in the trench, and there's drones going both sides, okay? How does he know whose is whose? What's the troops in the trench? What's his guidelines to think like, oh, that's my outbound or that's an inbound? I mean, like, how's he gonna not shoot down the outbound that needs to go
Well,
versus
there's just a lot of new TTPs that are going to come, right?
explain that
And
TTP? Oh, tactical training
oh,
programs.
yeah.
Okay.
And there's gonna there's different styles of training, and we integrate now with different exercises with the Army and with Special Forces. It's just going to evolve, right? And just like any new combat system, or any new big change in doctrine, whether that be gunpowder, aircraft carriers, nuclear weapons, MVGs, right,
Yeah.
small
Right.
arms, it's just gonna evolve, right? And it's awesome to work in my field right now with is defense, giant that's changing and trying to support us, right? And I think our side has done really well to something that's just, you know, grown immensely in the last 24 months in, the on the European war,
Really?
right?
Yeah. Seriously.
And I think everyone's a little bit reactive, but the Ukrainians and the Russians are using very unsafe, unsecure methods to getting war done. Right? They're showing, I think, some of the tactics and the progress of what small drones can do, but they're not safe to handle. It's the Wild West. There's
For
no
sure.
standards, and what we can do is from that crucible really pick out the best things that are working and implement, you know, higher security, higher safety, and greater performance. Right?
That's cool. Yeah, for the side that's using your stuff, it's like, hey, here, it's a little bit more, third grade, get it done, point it this way, versus like it's a Molotov cocktail. That's
Yeah,
just about to like,
absolutely.
it's
Yeah,
like, okay, I think this will work. I seen Saving Private Ryan sticky bombs.
yeah, right. With the
Yeah,
sock and the tar.
yeah, dude,
Yes,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. He's like, use this. It's like a drone. It sticks.
Yeah,
The one guy just
yeah,
blew him apart though before he even got it stuck.
absolutely.
Blah. Yeah, dude.
And I mean, and that's happening in Ukraine and Russia. They're using, 3D printed shape charges, right? And there's no safety arming device, and we watch it every day, right? Like it's just a proving ground for what can work and what not.
Sure.
And I get to, we all in our group, we get to have these guys who have ridiculous combat experience, you know, uh, translate what's meaningful and what's not. And I think we wouldn't be alive without our soft forces. I mean, our company, right? Like we'd be stuck in the mud. And I think it's kind of interesting. Like you'll see companies out there being like, yes, we hire veterans. Um, my instinct was just to make them executives, right? So like my chief technology officer, he didn't uh, he learned everything from development group. My chief revenue officer, with all the requirements and everything that he's gleaning, same thing. Like these aren't people who went to MIT, but my God, they're so much greater,
Yeah.
and they're so much more effective. And I think that's like a little secret. Like
Well, they
it's
could be
unbelievable
MIT. They
having these
could
people
be
on our
any of these
staff,
things. See,
right?
these guys that go
And
spec ops, I mean, even my own dad, to
of
toot his
course, they
horn,
make
he
it a
was a
lot
Green
easier.
Beret. My
Yeah.
father, Special Forces, always master's degree, working on a doctorate before he passed away. I mean, just like always thinking, and always educating and just being a better version of himself. And that's just what these guys do. They have like a whiteboard that has like 5 years planned on it, and they just like sit there and it is.
Unbelievable. Our biggest joke is making fun of Dylan's. He's gonna, if he ever hears this, laughing. His schedule, the way that he gets things done, the way he organizes, the way that he handles process and efficiency. he's the best operator I've ever worked with. And when I first met him, he was just making up his own stuff at the edge, right? And now he leads our entire technology team, our engineering team, our mechanical team, our electrical team, our radio team. And he's
From the
one
edge, bro.
deciding, yeah, and he's like, he's a sniper. It's awesome. So it's just we're just in a very fortunate position, and in terms of health, I just want to hang on as long as I can so I can keep doing this, right? And it's a very cool opportunity.
Yeah, I think so. And I guess that's really just kind of like, are you after any clients? Do you have something that you would, is there somebody out there that would reach out to you, or are you really just very compliant, like just USA, that's your structure is the
so
machine.
Our customers now are Soft Forces. We just got a big program of record for the Army. It's around the medium range reconnaissance, which is basically, in Ukraine, they call that the mothership, but it's just a big ass quadcopter that can carry heavy payload for long periods of time. So we can drop mortars, we can, deliver assets. It's fully tactical and meets all the requirements for SOF and Army. And we're really excited to work on that. We're working on different vehicles that are smaller. And that's our main customers, making sure that SOF and Army are happy, and we can help with their mission, right? And we look at the entire space as up and coming. So drones that can do one ways that are really inexpensive, that cost as much as a round of ammunition, or drones that are made for 1,000 hours, that are made to get through electronic warfare and can eye on target really far away, or do a stagfied laser. But all of this is made to come out of a single unit, right? So they're all built from rucksacks or smaller, and they're made to be organic and quick, and they're made to be tactical, so you can deploy that in a contested environment.
Yeah, exactly. Like I've seen some images of Marines, U.S. Marines, like kind of slingshotting. I know that's old school, huh?
Yeah, no, you don't want to set up a slingshot, right?
Like,
You want to
just set it out. But that was like that's like Starlight, Night Vision versus Gen White Phosphor. We have to evolve, right? You probably know what I'm talking about, right? And then there'd be the ones where they put it together. Even the guy narrating it, he's like, clip the wing in, throw it.
Yeah, we got to make sure that the guys can do it from cover, right? And it's fun because that's tactical, right? And that's pushing the limits on what you can do. It's making sure you can have an asset that can be thrown around, right? And designed in a way that can handle mud and rain, and also be deployed quickly, right? So it's pushing the limits on small robotic design. What we do is very different from the drones that you can buy at Best Buy, right? The thicknesses of our walls, how hard it is, how many hours we put on it before we give it to the customer. Like, it's a much more robust robotic system than just your typical DJI, and that's really fun too.
I wonder if you can modify a copter to hover with a sound system to run like a rave on a beach.
Oh yeah, I mean Creedence Clearwater Revival, right? You can just run that over, right?
Yeah, it's just like just cause you just
Yeah.
I mean, just taking it outside the space. I'm just trying to think outside the box with this. I know it has its purpose, and wow, so much you can do, and it's not involving a human life per se. Flying inside of the machine, where you have these guys that have back paramotors that can get up with a parachute, and then they're hauling stuff to the top of a mountain for electrical companies, and even for doing jobs that are high altitude. And now you can just take, like you said, the mothership quadcopter probably, and just and ride on up with what you need done.
It's democratized air support, right?
Yeah.
You can do what you need by yourself, right? Which is really cool.
Yeah. I mean, wow, you can be your own crew chief, the whole thing. You can chase after it as it's crashing into the water.
Yeah.
You're like, no.
I mean, it's just starting. We see the future where they're, carrying small arms, carrying supplies, so it's going to go quick. And, again, our job is to make sure the U.S. has the best shit.
And I've talked to other companies on here, and some of them don't arm their stuff, right? So I'm a little hesitant to bring that up, but like you said, small arms, and for Soft Forces, these guys are using these for combative missions.
Oh, we make weapons.
That's what's up. Yeah.
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 Like there's
Like what kind of like Hellfire missiles? Like what are we firing off of these bad boys?
That's a big asset, right? But like, yeah, maybe one day. But I
Okay,
think
yeah.
like essentially like if your asset can't be lethal, what's the point?
I see. Well, yeah, some want to probably have like the item out there and then maybe somebody does something with it.
Nah, I mean you got to do it all at once. Like if that's you can't just strap a sidewinder onto a quadcopter, right? You have to integrate that, bake it together, do your targeting systems. It's all you can't buy a javelin without a warhead.
That's kind of what you were explaining they were doing over there, like they're kind of putting these ad hoc systems together to.
No, we deeply bake our stuff so that it's easy to purchase and to use, right? But
Yes.
yeah, I mean, we're developing combat systems. Right?
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah.
Essentially, so we have to make sure it does a really great job at that, and we play as an active role as possible to ensure that it is as capable as you can get.
Like submarine detecting drones.
Not yet. No, just right now, we're doing consumable, right?
Yeah.
Where you have a small drone that can hit anti-personnel or armor, and we also have a mothership that launches those small assets, and then our mothership can also drop mortars and heavier munitions as well, right? So that's the space we play in. It's very similar to what you see on the Eastern Front with Ukraine and Russia. But as that evolves, our assets will be doing small arms, laser target designation. They'll be doing, I'm sure,
Oh yeah.
heavier arms, right? That's all to come.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, mapping. Oh yeah.
Yes.
100%. I mean, like.
But in terms of like people who have like these dual use drones and like, oh yeah, we sell at Best Buy, but then we also work.
Right.
Like you can't have a camera drone. It's not. Why would you have a camera drone if it can also carry a weapon, right? So like you have to do everything, right? No one's gonna have just a camera drone just taking pictures. It should be able to be lethal as well.
I see.
So like I think that we're very much defense first.
Mm-hmm.
Our customers are, war fighters, and
Yes.
We're making products for them to use to be effective.
Right.
We're never going to make a drone that just is a camera drone.
I got you. Yeah, no, nothing that can follow me on the mountain that I'm snowboarding. Nothing
Yeah,
that will.
right, no.
No, I want that.
Yeah, but that's the difference between a Humvee and a Jeep, right?
I got you.
Yeah.
You. Yeah, and about 4 slits in the front grill. I got you. But no,
Yeah.
I just wanted to be clear with what we're talking about here, and I know I laugh about things and chuckle, and you're really developing, weapons for war and for defense and for the Special Operation Forces community. And, I just wanted to hear that from you. So thank you for explaining that, to my listener and viewer for sure, dude. That's exactly it, so. And again, are you ever, is there a place that a listener could, submit a resume to you guys? Are you guys always open to someone who's hey, you sound just like where I belong?
We have like 20, 30 job openings right now. It's all on LinkedIn, on our website. Our entire go-to-market team is veteran based. I think the entire group is. Most of our company culturally, that's our cheat code, right? So pdw.ai is where you can find our website. There's a career section on there. Also on LinkedIn. I think we just posted 10 job offerings yesterday. We're based in Huntsville, Alabama.
Yeah, no, that's great. I just want my listener out there who's just saying, hey, how do I transition to, hey, oh, this is great. Maybe they've been brought up in the field as an MOS in the Army or already, and they're getting out of computer sciences or whatever they want to call cyber security, whatever they want to, that's what you're after. You're like, hey, hit me up, right?
No, I mean, there's a huge amount of job openings, especially for veterans, right?
Do you guys stock food in the break room for everybody to eat?
Yeah. What do we have? Celsius. Like everybody's drinking Celsius now.
I gotta drink my water. I almost just spit. We try to stock our pantry at our shops for our guys to like pick at whatever that's in there. Like, hey, I know. Here's your benefits package.
They all give me shit because they think I have low testosterone.
I buy peanuts and almonds.
Yeah, dude. I don't want to say, but I'm so not worthy. It's crazy. Yeah.
I stopped drinking caffeine, dude. It's real. It's real. I'm like, I don't need hepatitis C in the liver. Jeez. I'm trying to clear up my cholesterol. Bro, you've been really cool to talk to, all right? And I know you're super busy, and I love that you came on the show, and you really did well. You presented yourself well, and I think that this has been a really entertaining time. And I know that I'm going to let you get back to your normal business day because you got a lot of things going on, as we talked about prior to this. But Ryan Gury with PDW.ai, you can check out his information on LinkedIn as well. If you feel like you want to maybe send your resume or have somebody that might take a look at it and maybe give them some feedback if they do send it. Say, hey, we're looking for somebody that has these qualifications. And then, just remember, there's people out there trying to help the special operations community for the U.S., and this is one of them right here. And tactical to practical, practical to tactical, it all kind of blends in together at the end of the day. So good job on getting yourself where you're at today, right? And plus taking your statins, okay? I just want to say.
Thanks, man. Yeah, appreciate it. I'll keep taking them.
Yes, me too, all right? And to my listener out there who is like, do I need to take a statin? Go talk to your doctor, bro. Just go talk to your doctor and say, I'd like to know what a statin is. Okay, go look it up. Go ahead, hit it up, and make it normal, all right? And be kind to somebody out there because it's contagious. And unless you got to really drop a drone on them, then that's probably gonna suck. So, all right. So on behalf of SOFREP and the family here, and Brandon Webb and Ryan Gury, my man over here, the CEO and the world's record holder for the fastest drone at 100 meters at 200 plus kilometers a second, super fast. I just want to say thanks for tuning in. Welcome to 2025, and let's just have a great year. And I say peace.
Thank you.
You've been listening to SOFREP Radio.